rock and roll ain't noise pollution. Hello, and welcome to WLTM, the internet radio show where we're talking about music. And my spirit animal is the crow. What's yours?
My Patronus is the red squirrel.
Yours okay? That's Cameron. I said Cruz, but yes, it's very nice to know that.
Yeah,
my
spirit. Well, it started with the C, so he just jumped it. Yeah.
I have an 11-inch ashwood unicorn horn wand.
That's not where I thought that was going. God bless that. I was.
Add me on Pottermore.
Oh damn!
I am Ravenclaw.
My spirit animal is Brittany, bitch.
Alex, what's your spirit animal?
That's quite the one.
Rock and rolling noise pollution. That's what
That's
I
an
had to say
animal.
about that.
All right.
Thank God it's Friday.
If I had to pick a
God,
real
it's
spirit
Friday.
animal, though, it would probably be some sort of either sloth or giraffe, or some animal with some huge ass areolas.
Oh yeah.
Any of the
Big
above.
areola gang.
Yeah.
Only one of us is in that gang. Actually, I think Jack's nipples are kind of big, or his areolas are kind of big.
That's some white people shit, clearly.
If this video gets 1,000 likes, we'll do a beach.
Did you do the areola reveal?
If we get 1,000 likes,
subscribe to our
I'll upload a
NSFW.
hot selfie of my.
If you have
fucking nipples.
subscribed to our NSFW cosplay Patreon,
That's where it really
There you
be.
go. I told you we have things to talk about.
yeah, you'll see dress up as the Spice Girls.
Speaking of things to talk about, we have 4 albums to talk about.
Wait, how many Spice Girls are there?
There's like 4.
5.
Is there 4?
Five?
Five.
Such an
There's
awful
5,
number.
but I think like
Sporty, baby,
I
scary,
think they're dead
ginger.
though.
And
I think
none of them
they're
are
doing a
dead.
reunion.
Oh, Alex is
They're leaving
cultured.
one behind. She's a bitch.
It's
Is it Rihanna?
sporty, baby, scary, ginger, and
Or
posh
is it Beyonce?
Spice. Those
Why
are
do
the
you know
5.
this, Alex?
What do you mean, why do I know that? I'm a music historian.
Oh, there we go.
Like LeBron James.
I'm an ethnomusicologist.
No, LeBron James is a history,
LeBron.
not a history. He's a fucking horror movie fanatic.
LeBron James is a basketball player.
He's a self-proclaimed hip-hop historian.
Oh, is
Oh,
he?
yeah, hip-hop. I'm talking about. I said music, not hip hop.
I think he's directing the new Michael Myers movie. Actually,
They
It's-
just came out with the Michael Myers movie.
it's not that one.
I
Maybe
promise
something
you,
else.
I promise you, if LeBron James has director's credits on anything,
No,
it's not real.
I'm not fucking with you, dude. I thought this was a prank too. I thought I was.
No, I know it's not a prank. When I say it's not real, I don't mean it's not real. I mean that nigga didn't do a damn thing.
Hey, Alex, you want to
Yeah.
go first this week?
Oh yeah, I forgot the horror movie. If you want to watch our horror movie review podcast, that'll be on a different channel.
Yeah,
We're not gonna
Yeah,
tell you what channel it is.
our first
Yeah.
movie will be Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
dude! I should have watched that movie.
Our first horror movie will be Steel Magnolias.
No,
Anyway,
Cameron, that's the movie I was talking to you about.
Wait, when?
It has one syllable. It's like a pronoun. It's a Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
What?
No, just-
Shut up. Sorry.
I want to say that I apologize in advance for Cruz. So my album this week, that's the point of this podcast. For those of you,
Oh,
By the way,
yes.
my album this week was called May Haley's House by the Lonesome River Band, who are a bluegrass outfit out of America,
Outfit.
and they've been around since the late 80s to early 90s. I believe their first album was 88, if I remember correctly, or maybe it was 92, somewhere in there. And the leader of the band and main banjo man is a 5-time Bluegrass Music Association Banjo Player of the Year for 1995, 1996, 97, 98, and 2012. And I first heard this album, or part of this album, on Sirius XM Radio, Bluegrass Junction. Shout out Bluegrass Junction and the people over there, quite frankly, doing God's work. So I was listening to
Shout out the word junction.
listening to some bluegrass music. The first song I heard off the album was Diggin', which I thought was good enough to warrant me investigating further into the bluegrass genre, and this is a new thing to me. You know, I'm not at any sort of true. I'm still in the early stages of my bluegrass connoisseurship, you know, and you know, we haven't had a bluegrass album on the podcast yet, and I'd love to hear what you, very cultured and understanding individuals, thought about it.
Hell yeah.
I love culture.
I love culture. Yeah. Except when it's the Migos.
I think that this album was actually an influence on culture too.
Most likely.
Oh, this is also their
Do you want
18th
to
album.
They're both a lot longer than they need to be.
I want to correct myself, by the way. The first album from Lonesome River Band was 1982, and this is their 18th album of new material. So they've been around for a minute.
Do you want to specify you think this would influence Migos' culture too?
Well, you know, there's just all kinds of, you know, I think we all influence one another in our own special ways.
Yeah, everything's a remix, you know?
And I think if there's anything that Migos was listening to when they were writing that album, it was probably Lonesome River Band.
Yeah.
All right.
They were learning about the
culture.
Yeah, the culture, the Hickory Hollow Times and County News.
When you
Oh,
said
yeah.
Migos, I thought you meant Amigos, and my brain.
Your brain.
Yeah, I don't. Sorry, all right, just continue on.
Fragile cerebrum.
Yeah, just fucking, just march on without my brain delay.
All right, Cameron, you sounded like you had a hot take on this one.
Yeah, I said both this and Culture 2 were a lot longer than they should have been.
Yes.
Which, hold on, how long was this bullshit? 41
minutes.
I don't actually mean that. It was convenient. Because let me tell you, Culture 2 is a whole lot longer than it needs to be. But that's not for a different episode.
Thank God.
Because I'm never picking that garbage, and y'all aren't either.
Thank God.
So,
Thank God it's Friday.
I certainly enjoyed this, on average, more than most of Alexander's efforts.
I'm honored,
So far.
especially considering if I was going to make a list of things that Cameron would be into, I'm not sure if I would have specifically thought to put bluegrass at the top of that list.
In the realm of like country,
In the realm of American
and
music,
like basic folk, and
like Americana, you could
and
say.
like, you know, shit with the guitar with that noise,
The
and then
band
like
rock.
they're singing about some stupid shit. Like I don't know how to explain it. Everything's stupid shit to me, so that's just how it goes, and then you just have to discern the rest from context. Bluegrass is like up there on the list. It's like bluegrass is like country. Essentially, if I like it, it's bluegrass, and if I don't like it, it's country. Is usually how the breakdown goes. Obviously,
really,
that's not actually how that works.
a little
But
more to it than that, but you know, fundamentally, I don't think you're wrong.
in my feeble brain, that's how it goes. So actually, I enjoyed this. I can see myself listening to it again in a very, I can't find the word for it, a very, particular or
Specific
peculiar
circumstance.
instance. Yes, some form of circumstances might occur where I listen to this again.
When
what
you're
was
really
your-
trying to get in bed with that country girl, you know.
Yeah. When you go to the barn burner.
Just
The barn burner.
the barn burner.
This is
Go in the barn burner looking
is
for
the
some
album.
coal burners, you know?
This is the album where somebody's like, Cameron, do you want the aux cord? And then you just pick some shit to
And-
spook on.
Please.
I picked some shit to stick them. Oh yeah,
And then
That's-
put 'em with the bluegrass.
that's as good as any.
What was your favorite song off the album? If you
I
can
believe it was the aforementioned Hickory Hollow Times and County News.
Okay, so you liked the softer.
I don't think it was really because of the music at all.
Fair enough.
It was I
you
don't know.
sentimental?
I like the idea of just like, I don't know, this nigga busting open the newspaper. I don't know. Like
his friend
out
gave
of-
it to him.
I think really out of every song, the lyrics from that one, like, I remember the most. So it's like that in May Haley's house. I remember.
Mhm.
I remember. The only one I actually picked up the story of was May Haley's house, where, you know, this is a
That was
crazy
kinda
like
wild.
Oracle bitch,
Yeah,
And-
witch ass bitch.
and then the police is like, I mean, shit, I ain't got no leads, so let me just hit up the town Oracle.
The trap
You know?
house.
Yeah, the trap house. But that's the only one I remember well.
Fair enough.
So yeah, but I enjoyed it.
What did this get on your rating system?
Oh, this got a 3.
Oh,
Because I kind of liked it. I might add a 5 because I realized that like so far, on average, most weeks, if you don't count my album, are below average. However, like
do you think more things would be 2.5s, or like
no,
if you wanted to-
so the 5 would just be splitting 4 into like things that I actually like and things that like I really like, essentially.
right?
But 0, 1, 2, and 3 would be completely unaffected. So there
was no reason to bring it up in regards to this album, which is a 3. Okay.
Oh no! It's relevant in other albums.
It's relevant for the future
we'll get to
WLTM shows.
Yeah, I mean you could.
Yeah, I just busted out of my mouth. It was worthless to mention currently, but whatever.
But it will be relevant later. Okay.
It will be relevant shortly. But we'll get there. Yeah, I don't have much to say other than like, usually I am very impartial to the twangy guitar noise, but when it's on a banjo, it's far more tolerable.
Yeah,
I'm not entirely sure why that is, but
what is the twangy guitar noise? Can you demonstrate it to me?
he just means.
Oh yeah. Let me just bust out my fucking guitar.
No, use your fucking mouth.
He's literally just talking about the way the banjo sounds, like just that noise. But you can do that on a guitar if you wanted to.
Yeah,
you use a banjo.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the difference, but I think I know how a banjo sounds, but who knows?
It sounds like the main instrument in almost all the songs. It's the tone.
Oh yeah. But I don't know. Like usually when I hear that, I'm like averse to it. But like I guess the way they do it in bluegrass is like more tolerable. But who knows?
More upbeat.
I don't know. Yeah, 200 BPM bluegrass.
Jack as the resident hee-haw yeehaw Southern boy. What did you think of
I think I would not call myself a Southern boy at all, but thank you for the.
I call myself a Southern boy when I'm trying to flex on these hoes. But
compliment, I guess.
Yeah, you probably hold the door open and shit.
Yeah, he puts the cowboy hat on and he fucking goes back home.
I'm from South Carolina.
Why'd you like the cuck song? Come on.
Which song is the cuck song?
The news song.
Can you explain to me why that's the cuck song?
It's the best song on the album.
His
Fuck
high
you.
school sweetheart.
Oh yeah, dude.
Married his best friend. He's a cuck.
That's not a cuck. That's just like that nigga moved on. All right, like.
I'm mostly joking.
He's a bluegrass musician. All right, he's living the dream.
I had to point out the fact that low key a cuck, but I thought that song's all right. I thought the album was pretty good.
First Love doesn't count.
What?
Nothing.
What? Wait. Alright.
I don't know what that means. It came out. My First Love doesn't count. I'm gonna stick by it. I'm not sure the implications of such a statement, but
Speaking of
we're
which,
rocking with it.
mixtape now titled "First Love Doesn't Count" is available.
Hell yeah.
Dude, I'll take that. That sounds pretty good.
But anyway, I thought the album was all right. I liked it more when it was kind of being more upbeat. No, I mean some of the songs that are upbeat aren't even like lyrically upbeat. Like "Diggin'," for example, is not like it's
the slappingest song on the album, but it's just about how he hates life.
Yeah. But it's yeah. So I didn't particularly like Old Coyote Town the first time I heard it. Because
amen. I didn't like it the second time I heard it either.
That song was just like too country for me. But like the second time I listened to it, I was like, it's all right, because I was listening to the lyrics more and it's like, oh, it's okay.
I really enjoy it on that track. I like the mandolin in the intro and the outro. I think that's probably one of the more. I believe it's a mandolin. It sounds like a mandolin at least. It's probably one of my favorite instrumental points on the album. But I don't like how the rest of the song is. It's just a country song that got lost.
Yeah.
But that mandolin on the
listen to this again. It's certainly the low point of the album.
Yeah. The opening, the instrumental on the very beginning of the track, I think, is absolutely like amazing. I think it was interesting.
I hated the first like 15 seconds of the album before he started singing. Just like the little instrumental part of "Wrong Road Again" like triggered me.
Shout out to Lonesome
that is
Band for
good
doing
too.
something that no band's ever done, which is use an American music genre to honor Americans. That's a very seldom used trope to have a song that's pro-military.
That's a big rare.
Yeah, bigger.
Yeah. I liked you. So I like digging and feels real good going down and yeah.
The
So
bluegrass songs.
in Mahaney's house, yeah. The more bluegrassy songs. I don't want to say I ever really listen to bluegrass because I don't, but I have listened to just enough to know that I thought that the mandolin was like the raddest instrument ever. So I
The
do
mandolin's so rad.
So I do own a mandolin actually. It's sitting
Oh hell yeah!
sitting like 6 feet from me. It's I'm really awful at it.
Dick length.
But most of the bluegrass stuff that I've listened to before has been stuff that is strayed increasingly further from country. In terms, I mean, it's
you want the authentic bluegrass experience.
Oh, not even like an even more inauthentic bluegrass experience is what I mean. Like, it's like there's a band called Nickel Creek, which is kind of like a pop bluegrass band, kind of ish, not really. But like but it's like much less of like the country draw singing. You know what I mean?
Okay,
Where,
yeah,
like,
I see what you're saying.
Like you could transplant the vocalist from this album straight to like a straight country album, and you probably wouldn't question it at all.
He does. There is his. I feel like he definitely gets more country on specific songs, though. I think that he's less country on some songs than others, for sure.
Yeah,
I see what you're saying.
but for the most part, like the country draw is there.
Yeah, you want
And,
the
like,
straight hits.
I mean, no, I mean like the vocals on some of the other bluegrass stuff I listen to that I've enjoyed a lot has been stuff that's relatively like like I don't want to say pop vocals, but like very average vocals. No like specifically country or southern twang to it, So, but it's not like I expected this to be like that. I don't know if I really like the kind of traditional bluegrass / country vocals. Some of I really there's just a part of me that's like, damn, Hicks exists and I want them to die. No, just kidding. But Hicks, pretty unpleasant people. I live around a lot of Hicks. I have to interact with a lot of Hicks. I serve
like
fried
Matthew
chicken.
Chapman.
Yeah, like Groove.
The last name drop every single time.
I love
He
people's
can't
last
keep
names.
getting away with it.
Oh, no, but
What's the problem? Mr. D?
God damn it, Cameron.
no, but I serve a lot of fried chicken to some Hicks every day, and they're not pleasant people, So.
I think part of it is just like I think there's just an inescapable element where, whether you like it or not, the vast majority of the time, like even if it's not intentional, even if it's just like who makes bluegrass music, people from the South. What do people from the South have? South accents.
Yeah.
You don't get a lot of folks out like Boston, Massachusetts making bluegrass music. In good riddance.
Yeah. I did like that. That. I mean, I guess this is pretty typical for the genre, but like I do like the kind of down to earth lyrics where it's like
he's just a guy.
Yeah, I'm just a guy singing about my hometown, and it's like
I'm a 5-time banjo player of the year recipient.
Oh, but yeah, he mentions crows a bit too much. Like I don't know, I like
as the crow flies.
There's a lot of he really likes crows. I think I that's why I brought up it bring my spirit in.
Probably like Jim Crow.
Like, Hey.
Hey, the last name.
Oh.
Damn. Right.
Yeah, like he just had such an affinity for crows that like I think it transferred to me, and I just
There's
like
a lot of crows
my
down
spirit
south.
my spirit animal. I don't know what it was
Jim
before,
Crow.
but it got fucking replaced with the crow. Yeah.
Amen.
Oh wait, I'm retarded.
All right. So what I thought about this this bluegrass album, I personally it's called May Haley's House. Oh, you fucking knew it. My favorite songs were Hickory Hollow Times and County News, and May Haley's House, and the rest were just, and the rest were just like songs that you listen to. I don't know, like I don't really. I think it's fine. I don't hate it. And
I think all of them are technically songs that you listen to.
Well, we listen to, but I think it's fine. I don't really have any negative or super positive things to talk about it.
As a strings player, what did you think about some of the banjos, mandolins, type stuff?
None of it was really none of it was jumped out at me. I'm sure it was.
You don't think anything was worthy of 5-time Bluegrass Music Association Banjo Player of the Year?
I'm just saying that his prime was in the '90s when I was born. 20 years ago.
My favorite part about bluegrass music in general is that if you know how to play one note on the upright bass, you can play in every bluegrass band.
Yeah.
Which I really respect, because you really just have... Because worth noting is that there's not actually... Since 1995, there has been no original members of the Lonesome River Band in the Lonesome River Band. But I feel like...
Oh, not even like the singer?
Nope. Well, I mean, he joined very early. The guy who's the main thing, I joined very early, but he wasn't an original member. I think he joined in '85. I think I remember reading. So they don't have it. There was not any. But I think that bluegrass is one of those genres where you don't have like, oh my god, they replaced the bassist, because maybe there is an attachment to specific members of the band, but it's like, I feel like there's points where it's the band leader. It's like with jazz, like a jazz band. You have like the band leader. And then you just kind of get whoever else to do the rest of it. And if they're good, you keep them. If they're not, you get other people.
Yeah, it is kind of... It is like that in a lot of ways, where it's like...
It's a prime element of it, at least, I think.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say, like... I was about to say that, like, it's instrumentally focused, but I would not actually say that most bluegrass music. But, like, it is, like...
It's not focused on the people.
Yeah.
It's
Except for maybe like a
thing.
lead person, yeah.
Yeah. Well, even your band leader, not even necessarily your lead singer, but just like this is one of those genres where you have a lot of bands that are like, Frank Smith and the name of his band, and you'll have Lawrence fucking Smell My Butt Man, like 8-time Banjo Universe winner, America of the Year. Leading the band. But I thought it might have been risky picking a bluegrass album. I'm glad that nobody completely hated it. Especially since I know what kind of polarizing effect even stuff like country music has in our universe today. And this brought me back to summer. Shout out Tim for only playing Bluegrass Junction in the truck.
I find it very amusing that there's people that say that they listen to everything except rap and country. And then there's also people that listen to only rap and country. I find that incredibly amusing.
You don't like hip hop?
I really like.
I'm sorry.
Pro country.
I like the idea that there's people out there who say I listen to everything but rap and country, and asking those people if they listen to bluegrass.
They probably don't know what that is.
Yeah, do they say? Would they be like, no, I said I don't listen to country?
Probably.
So since this was on the Junction Radio or whatever, is this like the I'm trying to is this like the biggest bluegrass band?
Well, so what it was is the one thing that I did notice was that we listened to two sorts of bluegrass things. We had the Bluegrass Junction radio station, and then we had the Bluegrass Pandora station that Tim also had. Tim was for the listeners at home, was a man that I worked with over the summer on my on the job I had over summer. So we were, driving around a lot listening to bluegrass. And on Bluegrass Junction, they played new bluegrass. Like, I think the oldest song I heard on the station was a song from 2016, maybe. Like, they played, like, this band's coming out with their 8th album, this band's coming out with their first album, this band's coming out with their, 60th album or something. So it was all very new stuff. So I mean, I guess with 5 Banjo Player of the Year's awards, maybe their heyday was back in the 90s when he was winning all of those. But there's at least some kind of recognition there that the Lonesome River Band's like I'm not in a position to say if they're a juggernaut or something of the banjo scene, but there's at least some level of recognition.
But
on the Pandora
single
station
has like 250,000 listens, and I don't know what that is in the scale of bluegrass. Because if that was like modern jazz, that's just like that's a home run. Like you're literally the biggest
Lonesome
jazz
River
band right now.
Yeah, Lonesome River Band has 24,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. But for example, I don't know if the people who listen to a lot of bluegrass listen to it on Spotify or what. But in contrast, the Pandora radio station was almost exclusively bluegrass that was from like the 60s-ish to about the early 2000s, like Oh Brother Where Art Thou era, like early 2000s, when the bluegrass got a big resurgence in partial mainstream popularity from that movie soundtrack. So it was interesting to see that there was multiple, I remember listening to this Pandora station and hearing a Lonesome River Band song from like 94 or something, and then just thinking about how I knew the song from the 2017 album. But it's XM radio, so I guess they kind of just play whatever. They would also have some members come in and just do like live little impromptu shows, which was cool. It was just like one guy was the host of the show, and he was just always on.
Gang shit.
Yeah.
Like the cruise show.
Literally. And completely
Hell
unrelated,
yeah.
but there's way more female bluegrass artists and musicians than I really knew, than I really would have expected.
God damn.
But there's quite a few. I don't think there's
They
any
need to
female
get on
vocals on this
board.
album, but there are some solo and bands that have female lead singers. So if you're out there and you think, hey, I've never listened to bluegrass before and I'm an American, I'd say give it a shot. You might like it. And if you don't,
if you're not an American, maybe not.
yeah, if you're not an American, well then what do you? I mean, that's your problem. I think this
quite
is,
indeed is your problem.
if you're not an American, you can use this to perpetuate the stereotype that all Southerners are just cowboys. Yeehaw.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw. Damn
And on
straight.
that note, who would like to go next? Unless anybody has anything else they just want to add as a closing note, and if not, understandable. Have a nice day.
Everybody's a fucking critic.
I'll go next, I guess.
All right. Let's fucking
Oh,
go.
you don't want me to close it out?
No, let's go, Cameron. Kill it.
What?
Give me the introduction.
What?
Give me
What's the
the
problem?
rundown.
Go Cameron.
Are you
Go,
good?
Cameron.
Like,
Yeah,
I don't
I'm good.
Go
understand.
Cameron.
Oh, Cameron picked the indie rock album.
Yeah, you did.
Oh yeah. 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 Do you want me to pick my album or my album next? Shit. Alright, so.
The
Three
second bluegrass
cheers.
album of the week.
Yeah, the second bluegrass album of the week. 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge, the debut studio release.
It's not their debut.
It's the debut studio album.
No, it's their debut major label album.
Oh, fuck you, nigger. Okay.
Cameron.
They,
The R.
3 Cheers for
Whoa.
Sweet Revenge is the major label debut of bluegrass sensation. My Chemical Romance. Join the MC Army today.
Oh my god.
Is that? No, it's not called that.
Yeah.
it's not the
You
MC
want to see
Army?
some t-shirts? Hold on.
God, no.
Anyways, so yeah, this is their studio. Go on their merch on their page and then click on the third one.
Okay.
But yeah, so this
Oh god.
this was their 2004 release, their second album, their first major label debut. So you know, the first album was bad, on Unless Your Name is Amber Dorn, in which case it is good.
The last name.
But
Jesus
that bitch
Christ.
is wildin'. So we're gonna ignore her, and we're gonna keep pretending that their first album doesn't exist.
I got it.
It's not even bad. It's just like not good.
Got
It's
it.
just this but worse. That's really all it is. Anyways, so I guess I should give some background to the band, because I'll give some background of the band. Gerard Way was in New York on the day of 9/11, and he saw it happen, and he was just like, he saw just like niggas exploding and dying and shit, and he was just like, damn, I should start a band.
As any sane
Dead
person
ass.
would do.
Oh,
And
my god, Cameron.
what? What?
Stop. People exploding and shit. Damn, dude.
They did hit the pavement pretty hard, so.
You can't just fucking put it like that. Damn, dude.
Oh.
They fucking blew up like a band-aid after their release.
So he did that, and then he came out with their first album in 2002, and a year later, and then this album is 2004, and this album, S words, very much so.
You can say it. You're
And-
allowed to say it.
This album
It
speaks
slaps.
to. I wasn't thinking of that one.
Oh, what'd you say?
I'm trolling. So, fuck. What else do I want to say about this fucking bullshit? It's better than the Black Parade, contrary to popular belief. But
Ooh,
you
that's
know.
a spicy take, but
Yeah, it's a
that.
that's a
Was
spicy.
Westward spicy.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I guess my introduction to MCR was really my sister's a hard normie. So and Welcome to the Black Parade was an incredibly popular song. So she listened to that song because all the normies listen to that song. Because they just knew about it. And my sister was one such individual when I was in 5th grade, or probably 3rd grade, 4th grade, somewhere around there.
It was like 2016.
This is not 20. I wish it was 2016. Actually, dude, it'd be so wild just to be T-posing right now. I don't know what to tell you. I have so many questions for kids in middle school and high school today. I would love to just interview your random nigga with a jewel in the 10th grade today. I would ask him the craziest shit. It would be so much fun. But yeah, so I like that song because I just back then I didn't listen to music. I just listened to all the shit that my sister listened to, for the most part. I secretly I pretended to hate it, but secretly I thought that shit slapped, which is really why I listen to a lot of pop music today. It's mostly because of my sister, even though she'll never know. I can't admit that to her. But yeah, and then I also heard Teenagers and other shit off the Black Parade. And then one day when I was 15, I just decided to listen to this album. Or I don't know, it might have been the Black Parade first, but I listened to one of their albums. It was probably this one. I was just wait, this shit is unironically mega bangers the whole way through. And yeah, this song slaps. So I would love to hear y'all's wonderful ponderances on this wonderful album.
Okay, so MCR,
Mm-hmm.
I'm fine with the album. All right, none of the. You both use extension. Okay, so
Wait.
so I think all the songs are fine. I have no problem with it. The lyrics can be whatever sometimes,
They can be amazing at all times, except for one song, but whatever.
and I think I missed it. I think I missed the time period where this is okay, I love it, because I can see similarities between this and some of the music I listen to, particularly emo, and I just so I don't hate it, but it's just whatever. I don't understand how people can be this is amazing. I gotta join the MC
The
army. So the main problem I have with this is the fucking culture around it.
See, okay. The thing is, okay, yeah, I think Jeff's gonna say the same thing I'm gonna say, but it is 2018.
Yeah.
Okay.
The old culture that I was exposed to. I'm not exposed to the T-posing, jewel smoking.
Yeah, no.
Fortnite
What I'm saying is that like, this is so far removed from when it was on and poppin'. It's literally a decade past that like I don't see how you could like listen to it and just be like still be like, damn, this is gay. In the sense of like the people that listen to this are just like you're just getting flashbacks in your head from middle school to like Michael Hoyt and shit.
I didn't think about Michael Hoyt, but I'm thinking about the edgy girls that just like think they're so deep, and I'm just like,
well, even that. I think you have a more deep-seated hatred to edgy females that think they're deep than I do. Based on what my experiences with the words that come out of your mouth.
So that there's my bias.
I still think that it's so far
it.
removed from like that it's just like it's whatever. Because like when I listened to this in like when I was 15, it was 2013, right? And even that's pretty like far past. Like this band had stopped doing things already for the most part. So yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Like I listened to stuff that was to the point of, man, I'm so deep. Like I used to listen to my Bullet for My Valentine, and I think it's post-hardcore. I don't know what this genre is, but it's just the normie. I'm a girl and I like guys who sing about feelings, and there's metal elements, and they barely know how to play their instrument. So it's like, hell yeah.
I don't know, like, how you could even think that this is like at any point like trying to be deep, for that anyone who like listens to it thinks they're being deep. Like they're getting emotional, but emotional and deep are very different.
Yeah, I don't think they're trying to be deep.
Yeah, like deep is like, planet Earth's dying, man. You gotta be woke. Black people are oppressed, man. You gotta be woke. That's
shea butter type shit.
None of those are deep. Those are just obvious.
The
planet is dying, and black people are being oppressed.
No, but here's the deal. Like the people who listen to My Chemical Romance and like even the edgy people you're talking about, they didn't think they were being deep by listening to My Chemical Romance. They just thought, oh my god, it appeals to my emotions.
Well, yeah, it wasn't they're being deep. It's He Gets Me, and maybe there's overlap
which are very, very different things.
I don't know if I'd say they're very different, but I think that there's overlap. I think that there's people who could definitely assume that they're really deep, and so if somebody espouses the same shit that they're feeling, then they automatically assume that means that the other person's just is also deep. But I think a lot of it's just like, dude,
no. There's deep cuts in the wrist. That's all I can say.
I don't know. I don't hate it. I think it's fine.
This shit slaps. I have it at 9, I believe. Yeah, it's at 9. Chilling.
Is that a 4?
On your chart?
Is this a 5?
Yeah, on the chart. Oh, this would be like a 8. Like on my scale.
Did you just hit an 8 on your 5-point scale?
Yeah. I don't think you understand how much I like this album.
It's not bad. I think that the album. I think that the things that some people might like the least about the album are the things that like kept me interested enough to get through it. Which is I feel like one of the I feel like one main thing that people might not like about the album is, wow, is it dramatic?
That's the greatest part, but yeah.
Well, that's the thing is I really enjoy how dramatic it is because it makes it more fun to listen to, because at least it's not him doing the same thing over, just like the sad boy crying guitars. Like, so at least it's super fucking like, and he's a good singer. Like, he has a really good voice.
Yeah, fuck with this man's voice.
He's utilizing his talent and not just you know, doing some fucking goth rock ripoff. At least he's fucking getting in it. But I do like it's edgy in a way that would be cringy if it wasn't so dramatic. But to some people, I don't think that I think some people can't get over that hurdle and they just say it's cringy because it's like it's so edgy that it's cringy. When I feel like how dramatic it is like part of the magic.
Yeah, it's part of I mean, if it weren't as dramatic, like it wouldn't be it. Like I don't know,
especially that song Helena. That might be one of just the most just outlandishly dramatic, but in a good way, songs I've ever heard in my entire fucking life.
Yeah, this shit's insane.
That song actually sounds like he's like gonna die if he doesn't get what he has to say out.
Yeah, like he's very good at just like getting his emotion through his voice, and his voice is pretty different than like indie rock lead singer number 642, or bluegrass singer number 642, or like white guy jazz singer number 642. Like
this is emo.
Like you can't mistake Gerard Way for someone else.
This is pop punk emo singer number 1, and everything that comes after him is a reference. So shout out to that, but also shout out to the fact that if you own a diary, this album's probably one in your top 10 of all time. This is
I don't own it.
Shout out the dude on Rate Your Music who commented his review as a diary entry from Gerard Way into his diary. Because that's really this is a Dear Diary album.
Hell yeah!
And I mean that as a compliment. I gave it a 7. My favorite song off the album was "I'm Not Okay, I Promise," because I felt like if I ever got to I never had the edgy phase, but if I ever did, I feel like that would have been my anthem.
I feel that's actually like it might be my least favorite song on the album.
My least favorite song is "Hang 'Em High" because I really don't like the fact that they tried to do something different with the instrumental and make it kind of distorted and like a little more like heavier, punky.
Yeah, that song is heavy.
I think that he doesn't sing very well on that one either. I think his vocal performance is probably the weakest on that one.
I actually like the second half of the album a lot more than the first half, which isn't saying much.
Is the second half after interlude?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's not like a double album or anything. That's just like how I separate it.
I mean, also shout out to the fact that they have a song on their album called "You Know What They Do to Guys Like Us in Prison." So there's at least an element of self-referential, like meta commentary, understanding what they're doing there.
I do like "I'm Not Okay, I Promise." Also, I think
that's my favorite. Yeah, I felt like if I ever went through the edgy phase, that would have been the answer.
Those are the song names I remember the most.
Thank You for the Venom is might be my favorite song.
Those are the standards.
It's just I don't know. It's just very like poppy, and it just.
I don't know if this will get me to listen to Black Parade, for example, or any of the other. I don't know how much other.
Well, this is the best one, so you don't have to listen to the others.
I mean, you might like Black Parade more. Black Parade, they do more.
I don't know. I don't know if this is an album that I would have ever listened to if it was outside of the framework of this show.
Yeah, probably not.
I sat down one day and been like, man, listen to MCR today. But now that I think I might be in the reserves for the MC Army.
You might in the fucking on the back lines.
Yeah, when the draft comes,
you're like a communications officer.
No, like when the draft comes for the war, I might end up in the MC Army.
Yeah, and you just be like, well, I guess this is what we doing,
Yeah, exactly. But shout out Gerard Way. Shout out the fact that this band's really big in Latin America.
Yeah.
Shout out all that.
Any band with guitars is big in Latin America.
Come to Brazil.
You see that shit so much. It's funny. This album is also like top contender for like insane closing tracks to the album for me.
Okay.
Which is not something I throw around lightly, honestly. It's just like I never told you what I do for a living. It was like the end of it where it's like never again, never again. They gave us 2 shots to the back of the head. Like that shit's perfect. Like it was perfect way to end the album.
What does he do for a living in the context of the story?
I mean, I don't fucking know. He watches 3,000 people die and then starts a band. So I mean, that's what he does for a living. So I mean, I don't know what to tell you, but there are a lot of albums that like tell me a story, even though I don't necessarily think they're intended to. This isn't one of them. So I wish it was, because then I'd like it even more. But yeah, I've yet to pick an album that does that yet.
I thought Major Organ the Adding Machine told the story.
Oh well, no, that
definitely-
literally tells a story. But what I'm saying is like good news for people who like bad news. Like I if I ever do that album, which I will eventually, like I'm going to go on like a 20-minute deep dive about like each song and like how I think that it tells us like it goes through a man's life. Even though I have no clue if Isaac Brock meant it like that.
God bless
And
his
I don't even like that album that much. But, you know, wait for it. In a future episode of WLTM. Hee hee.
I'm not to talk about Modest Mouse for fucking 4 hours.
Type
Not
shit.
again.
I'll take it.
Not again. What do you mean? We barely talked about Long Drive when we did the album.
Barely talked about.
Like, no one really had anything to say. But, you know, it's all good. So, yeah.
What do you think, Jack?
Yeah.
I guess if Alex is in the reserves DMZ army, I'm listening right now. You know,
Yeah.
I had actually not bothered to actually listen to this album before, but I had listened to the Black Parade and knew I liked it a lot, and I guess I should try to listen to the other two, even though I know they're supposed to be less good than these two. I actually listened to Gerard Way's solo album the other day too. I was sorry.
I listened to like half of it.
Was it a solo rap album?
Oh man, that would be a
That would be
fucking album.
Shout outs to
That'd be
foreshadowing.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Oh no. Oh no. But yeah, so
Rock and roll's ain't noise pollution, Jack.
Rock and roll ain't dead, baby.
yeah, I'm not sure if I like this better than the Black Parade. It's different.
Yeah, they're pretty different.
Yeah.
Like this is just like straight like every song is the exact same genre and like
Yeah.
they're just going for it.
Yeah.
And then Black Parade, they're like, okay, we're gonna make our fucking magnum opus and do all this extra shit,
Yeah.
which worked, but
Yeah, it did.
I also like it less, which you know. However, like I'm not very much of like a concert person, but I would probably like low key kill to go back
And see the
the Black Parade tour live.
Yeah.
Because that shit had to have been bonkers. Like, but you know,
They had the costumes and shit.
I was too young.
They don't
People wish to
tour
pick up
anymore. I
chicks.
feel like they just make
They're
gangbusters.
they're not a band anymore.
The
Yeah,
band's been
they-
broken up for like a few years now, right? Like
Hey, you
5
can always
years.
get back together and make a lot of money. Like
That's
Cream.
probably what they're gonna do in like 15 years.
I,
Yeah, they haven't had new music since like 2012 or
yeah.
something.
I remember they did that tweet where they tweeted like MCR 2017 or something, and it was just like the
Reissue.
10-year anniversary of some album or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They thought they were getting back together, but it was just, hey, we're re-releasing the album that we made, and people were very upset.
But yeah, so this album is you know, I guess I quite like pop punk music, which I would say this is.
You have picked
More
two
so-
pop
more
punk
so
albums
than
so
I-
far.
What?
I said you have picked 2 pop punk albums so far.
The weird thing is that like this is pop punk, but it's also like it's very different than most
Yeah.
pop punk that you
It's-
hear, mainly because of like the aesthetic that they go
Yeah.
for is
And
just so
well, yeah, I
different.
mean, that's one of the reasons it's better than most pop punk is because like Gerard Way is really a phenomenal vocalist. He's
Mhm.
I think you can really tell that he is like he's already been impactful in the industry in like the genres that are around this one, you know, and he's just so over the top and so dramatic in this like it's amazing.
Like I don't think I could ever inflict this much emotion, like just talking to a black cylinder. Like I don't think that's like possible for me. But like, and a lot of people like they probably just can't really do it. But this man does it perfectly. Like I don't know what state of mind you have to be in to like to be like this and like acting are like very similar in the sense that you have to like it's like extreme focus and like
Yeah, you're pulling up emotions without the stimulus, you know.
yeah, yeah, that shit's insane.
Yeah.
Like-
Yeah. What were you saying, Alex?
I was about to make a bad joke. You keep going.
Yeah, make the bad joke.
No, you don't understand.
It was like bad.
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
Shout out Guyliner.
What? What?
Oh yeah, okay, alright.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out Guyliner. I've never heard that word before, but I like it.
That's what it's called.
Like guy eyeliner?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Is that
Guy
is that the aesthetic of this?
I'll fuck with that.
Of this
That's,
album?
What he wears.
that's part of it.
I'd agree with that. Yeah, hell yeah. Hell yeah. You're some guy liner, baby.
Baby.
Alex, I do
Blueface
think
baby.
I do think that you would potentially like the Black Parade more because it is more theatrical and progressive, and I
Oh,
would feel like
God.
it might recall certain things that I know you like. For example, maybe like a little Pink Floyd's The Wall,
Mm,
in a sense.
that's interesting. I don't know if that's even fair enough, dude. I don't know if I'd say that's like in my top.
I mean,
Okay.
I don't know if that's your favorite Pink Floyd album. I know that Pink Floyd is a very big.
Oh, you were not talking to me.
Oh, so yeah, I was talking to Alex.
The
you
Wall is
fucking
my favorite Pink Floyd album.
The Wall
Is
is
it-
probably
is it
my
actually?
Yeah.
Oh, you're such a virgin.
Yeah,
If I
Alex
had to
shits on the wall a lot.
I don't shit on the Wall. It's still good. It's definitely in the. But I see what you're saying.
Yeah, but
It's the rock opera, the true
Yeah,
rock opera.
yeah, like even like, you know, this album is, you know, obviously has like it's thematically cohesive, but like the Black Parade is actually like trying to be like, we have a story.
Where
Listen
the fuck
to
is
the
teenagers
story.
fit in then? Why is
Yeah, that's
teenagers
the
on the
thing. You
album?
say like people say that like it has a story, but it's very strange because I don't know. When I pick the album, I can go into the reasons why I don't like the album, even though I like it. But like
I see
I
what
don't
you're
know,
saying though, Jack.
some
Yeah,
songs don't
teen-
thematically fit, but you know whatever.
Teenagers is like, of all the songs on the album, Teenagers is the one that's just like, why? But like Teenagers is also the
I
best
mean,
song on the album,
Teenagers
so
and
you-
Mama both
Teen-
like Mama musically doesn't fit. It's a really good song, but like it just doesn't belong on the album.
I think
and-
it fits.
Like just when you listen to it, like musically, like they have like the kind of like the seafaring theme to it, like with the guitar and like the shit that they do on that song just sounds different than the rest of the album. Especially
Yeah,
in between Cancer and Sleep, it makes no sense.
Eh.
Like
I mean,
at least when I listen to it, like it just does not fit.
I don't feel like
Teenagers fits better in my opinion.
I mean, Teenagers is just like lyrically just complete left field, you know.
Well, lyrically, yeah, but I mean that song's just like such a banger, like
Oh, yeah,
because of the
thing.
lyrics and just that like I mean you hear it and it's just like this is it, like even if it doesn't necessarily
Yeah.
like fit cohesively, like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's a different album.
Yeah. It is a different album, and we there's
I'll have to
a good
give.
chance we'll get to it one day.
I'll have to give it a listen.
Yeah.
I'll probably pick it eventually.
Hell yeah.
Because
Okay.
I mean, I have more to say about that album than this one because I have like incredibly particular critiques for that album.
You have qualms with Black
that
Parade.
that I don't have with like most other albums I've ever listened to. So there's that.
Yeah, I remember one time me and Cruz and the other boys in the apartment were driving back from Columbia, and you know, I think I was driving, but Matt had control of the radio, and he actually played the Black Parade in full, and you know, and Cruz woke up and said, "Hey, what's the banger?" So I you know, maybe Cruz will like that album.
What
more,
song
too.
was it?
I think the album that just ended. He asked what the album was.
Oh.
And Matt was like, "You haven't heard this before?" And he's like, "I've heard the banger before," and I think he was referring to the Welcome to the Black Parade.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But I actually said to him, "You mean
Everyone and their
Teenagers?"
mom listened to that song.
I said, "You mean?"
Oh, I remember
Teenagers?"
that. And I didn't get the reference. You're like, you mean teenager? Like, what?
Holy shit, he actually didn't get the reference.
What the
Yeah.
fuck are you talking about?
That's condescending as fuck.
Thanks,
Yeah,
dude.
fucking take a hike.
Yeah. Best songs on the album. It's not a fashion statement. It's a death wish. Helena, and
I thought that was a Panic at the Disco song.
that does sound like a Panic at the Disco song title.
Hell yeah.
And yeah, the Ghost of You is also very good. Actually, most of the songs, all the songs on the album are good. But you know, when listening to it, the one that stood out to me during both my listens was "It's Not a Fashion Statement, It's the Death Wish." Because like at the end of that song, I felt like it could have been the final song of the album, but it kept going. I was like, okay, that's fine. But like,
Oh yeah,
it was
the end of that
very,
song is like also like, yeah, if that were the end, it'd also be like an insane closer.
yeah.
But they had two more for you.
You gotta keep them guessing, you know.
Hell yeah. Also, that this album would be short as fuck. You know, this isn't even a full length, which is pretty funny.
This is easily a full. Like, you guys keep saying this shit about like albums under 40 minutes not being full length. Nah, anything that's over 30 minutes is easily full length, and you can make a case for things being that like even over 20
Yeah,
minutes.
I think over 20 minutes is a full album.
Well, I don't think that like it's necessarily that like it's just not a full album, but I know that like people like industry terms like people in the industry like consider like it's not me. It's just like it's a thing that certain people say is just like
in the
less
industry,
than 40 is technically like
in the industry, if it's a full length if it's printed on a 12-inch disc, like that's like the technical thing. Or
fair enough.
If we're talking about like from like the perspective like the Grammys, which is not really an important judge, but like it's a standard that I remember for some reason. They have it where it's like you either have 15 minutes of material or 6 or more tracks or something like that.
Yeah,
So
that's fair. I think because like back in the day, like they had like shorter albums.
yeah, I mean
Like
it's just like you know the traditional distinction between like you know full length project and not full length project is whether or not it got printed on an LP, right? But that doesn't matter in the digital age, really, and which is why you're seeing lots of you know projects that are like you know really short, like you know all the Kanye albums that came out this year, or projects that are insanely long for absolutely no reason, like a certain Culture 2 or something like that.
How long is that album?
Solo rap album.
That album is like 80 something minutes. It's 70 something actually.
Oh.
Let me
Not
look.
nearly as close as my boy Mark Kozlik and his solo rap album.
Let me look.
It is 1 hour and 45 minutes.
Oh, never mind. Damn.
It's 105 minutes. That's
Oh,
like
I
a
was
movie.
completely
watching that
kidding.
film
That's
score.
so much content.
I had no clue it was that
double.
long.
That's a double vinyl.
that's a
hilarious.
triple vinyl.
The triple.
Yeah, that's a triple.
A
vinyl's
vinyl
40 minutes, right?
40 to 50 minutes,
God damn.
depending on like compression and like dynamics.
Would that change if it's 33 instead of 45?
Oh
It would
yeah,
change
if it's a 45, it's much less material because it's
Yeah,
Faster.
smaller.
going.
No, the
Well, I mean, no, you can have a 45
Rotations
on a
per
12-inch
minute.
disc.
I mean,
But if you had a 45 on a 12-inch disc, it's like it's going faster, so it's you know less material on the disc.
Songs go. The song sounds faster.
song cease faster.
that's an
It's
idea.
like eating carrots, but for music.
Yeah.
What?
What?
What the fuck does that mean?
I got
Wait,
some
you don't-
carrots in the fridge
You
right
don't know
now.
that when you eat carrots, it makes you see faster?
Yeah,
Oh,
eating
alright,
carrots.
okay, I got you. Alright. I see the fuckery that's afoot.
Shout out carrots.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out the Rots.
All right, Cruz, you want to go next? Because I think I want to save the best for last.
Oh, okay.
Oh, then why did I go first?
That's so fucking funny.
That would giggle.
You'll jiggle.
So the album I picked this week was Hot Flash Heat Wave. Actually, I don't know the name of the album. That's the name
Neapolitan.
Neapolitan.
Neapolitan by Hot Flash Heat Wave. I got their big hit in my Discover Weekly one week.
Same.
And then I listened to 2 other songs, Hesitation and Homecoming, and I never listened to it again. And for the past 5 weeks, when I've been picking an album, I've just been throwing on those 3 songs and picking albums to them. And Cameron was like, "Why don't you just pick that album?" And I was like, "Yeah, fuck it." So I picked Neapolitan by Hot Flash Heatwave, and I really fuck with Hesitation, Homecoming, and Gutter Girl. Gutter Girl has to be one of the best songs ever written, to be completely honest with you. I love singing to it. It's a fucking wild ride. And then I didn't notice that, but a lot of the album, that he sings differently, and like they have different tones, so like it's not all the same shit over and over again, which is actually quite nice. And the album cover is fucking dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out Small Dick Man.
And
Shout out Small Dick Man. Shout out Stonehenge.
Yeah,
Making a
shout out, yeah.
cameo.
And if there was
Shout out The Puddle.
Oh yeah. Also, if there was any album that you would say this is cruise music, I would probably say this would like be
That's
this
just
is
what I
the
was
middle
thinking.
ground. Like this is what you would think I'd
This is
listen
ground
to.
zero.
But
for
I don't even
cruise.
Music
listen to
Day
this
way to cruise
album.
music.
I only listen to like 1 or 2 songs, so it's whatever. You know, fuck them.
Fuck 'em.
Great music. Rock and roll ain't dead. I only listen to new music. Let's go. What do y'all
Rock
think?
and roll and noise pollution.
So for me, obviously, I found this album the same way Cruise's bitch ass did. And I listened to this album, and most shit that I even feel compelled to like listen to a whole thing of on Discover Weekly, it's like, okay, that was aight. And then like I just never listened to that shit again. But this album, I was actually like incredibly pleasantly surprised by when I heard the whole thing. It was like I was expecting it just to be another situation where it's like, oh, this is all right, but the song on Discover Weekly was just straight up like the best song. No point to listen to the rest of this garbage, and I keep it moving. But this album is actually, for me, it is the best album that has ever come out of the new age like white boy indie rock.
It's just new wave rock.
Like, yeah, I mean, yeah.
Rock.
I mean, it's just like new wave rock made by like white people in their early 20s
In the Midwest.
for the most part. Yeah, I mean, somewhere around there. And I think this is like literally the best of that. Like, I don't think like anyone has done it better in the
you don't
past.
think The
Like,
Good Life is close?
The Good Life I don't see is that because, The Good Life is like different to me.
Okay.
'Cause
I feel like I would put those two right next to each other in quality. And in that genre in the new wave.
I think The Good Life is better, but I also didn't consider The Good Life to be like this because, I don't know, The Good Life is like, does a whole lot of extra shit, I guess. It's a whole like story almost, and like it's very like Black Parade-esque or like Magnum Opus-esque, and like, I don't know, I feel like the way he went about things on that album. And then the last song is insane. But this album like doesn't do anything special. It just does what it does extremely well. Essentially. It's like this is more like Three Cheers for Sweet Revenge, and The Good Life is more of like the Black Parade.
Okay.
Even though I like The Good Life more than this, but like that's not the point of the comparison. But that's the way I see it. Is that this is just more like mainline like new wave rock, and The Good Life is different. So yeah.
I agree with
Other
Cameron a
people's
lot.
thoughts.
Yeah.
This shit's really, I liked it a lot. It was extremely good because it didn't try to do anything that set itself apart in a way that made it polarizing. And by that I mean like it's not like, oh, we're the band and this is our unique thing we do. That
Yeah.
if you don't like it, there's no point to listen to our band. So
They just did it, and like
it's just straight good quality rock music, and I had a emotional moment kind of because one of the most profound dreams I ever had in my life I had when I was a freshman in high school. I was sitting at my computer in the dream, and I was listening to Pandora, and the song came on the radio, and it's not a real song. I've searched for many years to see if I could find it, to see if it even was a real song, and not even close, just not a real song at all. And I feel like if it were a real song, Hot Flash Heatwave would have made it. So they got instant bonus points for proving that everything in the world's a figment of my imagination, and it's all
Like
interconnected in its own special way.
Like when Stephanie played Floral.
Yeah, basically that actually. Don't fucking yeah. Shout out that.
I like that story.
Yeah, shout out Floral. But yeah, this song's incredible, and this is one of the few albums.
I wish I had her last name to drop.
Yeah,
Continue.
dude, I was just thinking, I was like, Cameron, where's the last name? Where is it?
This is one of the first albums I've heard in a really long time where I'm like, there's a song on here that I could play for my dad that he would like.
What song is it?
Because Jacuzzi. Because it's very like, it seems like it's plucked right out of the late end of like 80s new wave pop music, which is his like fucking super playground. It just has a very like upbeat, fun kind of like, we're doing this because we like to have fun vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Which he vibes with a lot. So when I'm home on break, I'm gonna play him some of these songs to see if I can confirm that that's the case or not. But I think he would like this, and anything that Big Mike would like is something that everybody would like. Because if the music came out past the year 1990 and my father likes it, then it's something truly worthy of note. So shout out Hot Flash Heatwave. This album has no songs that I don't like. My favorite songs were Hesitation, because of how infectious it is. Malibu, because it's probably the catchiest song on the album. And then Jacuzzi, because... Shout out Jacuzzi. And shout out Awful Dessert from My Dream. I'll be contacting Hot Flash Heatwave to record it for me.
Jack?
Shout out Cruise Music, too.
Cruise music. Cruise music. That's all I could think the entire time I was listening to this. I was like, damn, this is cruise music. I love cruise music.
That's why this one got a 9.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna be the downer here, because I thought it was all right, but like there's, it didn't.
I'm just saying,
like...
be careful, because you know Jack music's coming next.
I'm sorry, it didn't have enough beeps and boops for you.
Yeah.
I'm not Cameron.
I don't know what you're talking about. You picked the album, not me.
I'm not. No, okay. So like this album, it's like it's.
I picked 3 albums this week.
This album very pleasant. Very.
What?
It's very pleasant. I did not. There's nothing. There's nothing where I could be like, damn, this is awful. But there was nothing where I was like, you know, this is amazing. I need to listen to this over and over again. I didn't like the guy singing in quite a few places. Particularly, the one that particularly stands out to me is the hook of Jacuzzi. Did not like the way he says "wagon." There was something about that I was just like, rub me the wrong way, you know. There are ways I like to be rubbed, and that was not one of them, you know.
Yeah, 17 and under.
What?
Nothing.
What the fuck?
That was very interesting. I don't know if I necessarily agree with the idea that Alex presented, that, you know, having a like just, you know, just making something that's, you know, just good all the way through, but nothing special is like a good thing. Like,
it's not that it's nothing special. It's what it is that they don't pick a thing that say this is our thing and that's special, because you don't have, especially in this genre where it's such a saturated thing, you constantly have things where it's like, we're the vocal band, and you know, if you don't like the vocalist, then you're not going to like the band. But this feels to me like it's like this is the kind of thing where it's like, you can be the best baseball pitcher of all time, but that does not make you the best baseball player of all time.
Yeah,
You know,
but
you can be the best at one thing, and you'll be in that rank.
like I'm not
But
trying to say
when you
that.
consider everything on an equal playing field, I think you would be hard pressed to find something that is as all around um, appealing to as many different people, like to different people who are looking for different things in this genre than this, because I feel like this does everything good, really good.
I mean, I'm not saying it does anything that. I mean, so I'm not trying to say that like having a gimmick is a good thing. These gimmicks, yeah, they can be awful. But
Gimmicks are what gets you to a 10, but gimmicks are also what get you down to a 3.
yeah, I don't know if I actually. I don't necessarily think that you have to have a gimmick to be distinct, though. You know, and that's, I guess, if I have any real like problem with this album, that's what it would be. Is that I don't feel like this was very distinct from any number of other similar albums that I've listened to,
But do you like those
even
albums?
specifically ones that Cruza has shown me. Like
But do you like those other albums?
for the most part, I think they're all right. Yeah, but like
So,
this
so
is just another thing.
you would give this the same rating that you would give those albums as well.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess.
Because the thing
I
is,
mean,
for me, like
it's
for
just like
somebody
it's
like
just
me,
like
for example, that's stuff that I really quite enjoy. And as such, if I see something that's samey to stuff that I already like, it gets a similar rating to it. If you don't like other indie rock music that's in this sort of vein, you're not gonna like this. And if you really like that stuff, you're gonna really like this. And if you're more or less indifferent to that kind of stuff, you're gonna be more or less indifferent to this.
yeah, because it doesn't do anything different. It's just if you're partial to this kind of music,
Or
it's
even
just
just this
that other
kind
shit
of,
but better.
you know, or this kind of that kind of music,
Yeah, like the only difference is like
college
this
rock.
album just happens to be better than other albums in the genre,
In its section of the
and
genre.
it's certainly yeah, and it's certainly like, not special. And there's certainly like there's things I don't like about it. Like sometimes I also don't like the singer's voice, and I sometimes when I'm listening to it, I feel like it goes on for too long, and it's a 32-minute album, so that's a that's a thinking emoji.
Very rarely do I listen to an
But
album.
I still like it.
Very rarely do I listen to an album and not have something that when I hear it and I don't like it, I don't like every time I hear something I don't like in an album, I immediately react, like I immediately notice it to the point where it's like I have an immediate reaction and I know exactly what it is and like that it's there. And my first 2 listens of this album, I didn't have that at all. There wasn't anything that I heard and I was like, this is, where I can say this is a weak point. And that was something that I hadn't had in quite a long time. Because even on albums that I really, really love, I usually have that. So I think that was another part that I thought was really impressive, was that, at least to me, there wasn't anything that was like, wow, like, they could have fixed this.
yeah, I can understand that. But at the same time, like to me, I did
I'm gonna
not
be referencing
get.
all this on the next album, by the way, so be careful what you say.
To me, there's well, there's nothing in this album that besides the singer's voice in A Couple of Hearts that I could specifically point to and be like, I didn't like it. There is nothing that I can think of right now that I would specifically come to this album over any number of other indie rock albums for if I was in the mood to listen to some indie rock music, right?
Well, yeah, but you're probably rarely ever in that mood, so it doesn't.
I mean,
Well, and your
I
indie rock
am.
vibe, based on what you've already said, is different than what this is
Oh
anyway.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
That's the other thing too. This is
Indie
like,
rock, and of course, indie rock is a fake genre. That's
indie rock
very
is the most
large, so it
fucking
doesn't.
disgustingly blanket.
That's why I was
genre
trying to say like white boy new wave indie rock, because
Yeah,
that's a more narrow description.
yeah. And I mean,
So, yeah.
I like this kind of indie rock more than the I am a sad boy who's on my guitar alone indie rock. But it's not exactly. It's not
what I
the
mean to
best,
say.
right?
What I mean to say is that this and albums that are adjacent to this are in the territory of like 7 to 10 for me. So it's like, just because that's the vibe that I enjoy more than, your Arcade Fires or your, other whatever, Sad Boy on the guitar or your Eastern influenced indie rock or whatever the fuck else you have. So what it is, it's gonna be, if albums that are similar to this are sixes for you, this is gonna be a six. If albums that are similar to this for you are threes, it's gonna be a three. If albums that are similar to this are eights and nines for you, it's gonna be an eight or a nine. Because it falls into that category, but I think that as far as that category goes, this is one that I would put near the top, personally. Just because this is my vibe. I really enjoy shit that's just a little old, a little new, and just fun. Because you have too many people taking themselves way too seriously and trying to do a bunch of crazy shit to be like, old music's dead and we're the new music.
Yeah, speaking of which.
Oh.
And,
Are we just gonna use that as the segue?
It would be a great segue, but segues don't matter. If someone has something to say.
So the album that I picked this week, that I felt was a very interesting pick, and so that's why I picked it. It's ... because I'm young, arrogant, and hate everything you stand for by Machine Girl. So Machine Girl is I think despite the name, I'm pretty sure it's just a guy.
I believe so also.
Yes, Machine Girl, I believe, is like from New York or something. This is the third studio album, I guess. There's two solo albums and one that's like a split album, but like this is the third solo album. The cover and one of the song titles is kind of a reference to the first album, which is called Wolf Girl, which is what the second to last track is Machine Girl versus Wolf Girl. And so like the monster that's in the background of the very amazing cover art, by the way. If you're listening at home, please look up the cover art for this album. It is the best cover art I've ever seen for an album ever.
Yeah.
So but yeah, so that the monster in the background is I'm pretty sure the same one that's in the Wolf Girl cover, maybe. Actually, I'm just never sure. Every time I look at it, it looks like it, but it also doesn't look like it. But whatever, doesn't matter. So this album is came out like last year. I've always seen it like shitposted on not a lot, shitposted a lot, but I've always seen just like occasionally pop up on like New, just seeing the ridiculous cover art and being like, that looks interesting, and never like actually listening to it until just a couple weeks ago when I was like, wow, this is quite interesting. And yeah, I think that the genre of music that this would be, according to Rating Music, because I don't actually know what this would be. I would not have been able to tell you on my own what genre this is, but apparently it's digital hardcore, which is like hardcore punk and hardcore EDM put together. Yeah, it's wacky, it's out there, it's very quirky. I feel like a very quirky girl when I listen to this, What do you guys think?
All right. I'm just gonna have to say it. I'm just gonna have to say it.
Say it.
In the words of Cameron, it doesn't suck. It's just boring, and that's worse.
You thought this was boring.
I thought this was boring.
You're not getting.
I can actually completely understand that because like I know you mean more than what I'm about to say, but like when I listen to it, it's almost like it's very like empty and there's nothing even remotely melodic about it. So it's almost like it's just noise and it's like, wow, whatever. More or less.
Yeah.
But continue what you mean because you might
mean like something kind of different. The best part about the album is the album cover by far.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, you're doing the thing and whatever, and you're saying the cuss words, and you're singing, and you're putting the beeps and the boops in.
Oh my God.
That's just fucking fine and dandy. Yeah, and yes, it could be construed as a shit post and a meme, and it's great.
I don't think this. I think the cover is a shitpost. I don't think the album is intended as a shitpost at all.
It sounds like it, but it's just like I'd rather be listening to something that's good. Like every time I boot this up, I'm like, I'd rather be listening to Street Sex. I'd rather like it has that same like sometimes it has the same kind of tone, and it just reminds me of like, man, I could just be listening to something that's actually interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's just worse than.
Yeah, and we've gone through so many albums that are different and interesting.
That it's almost just like this is just another one.
Medium or no, it's not. It's below average in the interesting category, and it doesn't raise any flags for me. I think it's the worst album you've picked by far. I'd rather listen to Sebastian or Super Discount.
Well, Sebastian, you actually kind of liked, right?
Not really. Oh, I like the interludes.
Oh, true.
Shout out Jack Music.
I like that album. Yeah, shout out Jack Music. I believe this. Fuck no, because I've given you like ones before, but it's almost like because I feel like I like this enough to like just give it a 3. I was thinking about giving it a 4, but after Cruz said that, I agree with it. I agree with them too much to actually give it a 4. I think he really said what I was thinking, so like I couldn't actually put it into words, but it's like a low 3. It's like a very it's hard for me to like about because at some point I want like there's some parts where like I listen to it, I'm like, and it just like I don't know if you've ever heard Club Banger 3000 or shit like that. Well, I'm like, y'all are familiar with Club Banger 3000, right?
No idea what you're talking about. But it sounds
Club Banger
ridiculous.
3000 is a Filthy Frank song. Nah, I'm gonna have us all listen.
Familiar with that,
Okay, where it's literally just like a normal trap beat, but then he just puts a disgusting amount of hi-hats. And it like it's just like eventually the whole thing just devolves into like hi-hats at some parts. And it's just like you listen to it, like Matt showed it to me, you listen to it, and you just start laughing because it's like there's so many fucking hi-hats. And some select parts of this album were like that for me. Like particularly Bullet Hell. I was washing the dishes and I was listening to Bullet Hell, and the part of Bullet Hell where like just the snares get hit, or whatever the fuck that drum is just starts getting hit on 16ths. like I just started laughing out loud because it's just the same thing as Club Banger 3000 for me. But when this album isn't doing that for me, it's worthless. For the most part. I expected this album to be slightly darker than it was. I expected to have like more like distortion and like maybe have like more like minor key S noises. Even though like this isn't really made like that, but I don't know how to describe what I'm talking about. But I expected it to sound like darker, essentially. Like, but it actually sounds a lot more video gamey than I expected it to, which I actually like enjoyed. Like, I thought it was all right, but it's not like it wasn't like crazy to me. But I can't say that I dislike the album. It's just at some point when it's not doing the thing, it's very boring.
All right.
Although I did like a Sleepy because it was a nice reprieve. And I do think I really wish. I'm never sure how I feel about like people that like are very serious in the sense like when you listen to It Takes a Nation of Millennials to Destroy a Nation of Millions, and you just listen to that and it's like I'm just sitting there. Maybe I'm just a lame nigga like trying to be an actuary. I'm sitting there and it's just like he says something very particular where it's like it's something about like people stopping young people from doing what they want to do, but it's like, okay, all right, Doc, but like, what is it that you want to accomplish? Like, quite honestly, like, I just want to ask Machine Girl, like, exactly, say in like a simple 3 sentences what it is that you want to accomplish in the world, and I feel like he just say some stupid shit. Like, honestly, like I feel like he just say the most incoherent mess I've ever fucking heard in my life. And like it's like, okay, dog, so you don't actually want to do anything, you just want to like troll until you die, which is perfectly fine as long as like you act like you want to troll until you die. But making that song makes it very evident that you have this idea that you're gonna do more than troll until you die, that you're not actually gonna do, but like, I don't know, Alex.
This album's edgy in a way that makes it bad.
Is this better or worse than Black Dresses? Because Black Dresses to you was
way
also
worse.
edgy in a way that made way worse. Okay.
Yeah, the Black Dresses was like, it had moments where I really got invested in what they were doing because I was like, it's silly is not the right word because it wasn't silly, but it's like they went so hard into it. They went beyond Black Dresses, went beyond where I expected them to go.
Mm-hmm. And this went like less far.
When they hit it, I was like, okay. I was like, clearly I don't have a big enough brain to comprehend what they're doing here.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I couldn't see that coming, then like, fuck me, right? But Machine Girl, I was like, man, they're really gonna hit it to me sometime, and I was like, wow, when's it coming? I'm like, man, they're gonna do something I didn't expect soon, and it's like, and then the music stopped playing, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, the album is like, it's crazy, right? I just put my sweater on backwards. It's like, it's crazy, but it's not actually crazy. It's like fake crazy.
Yeah,
it tricks you into thinking that it's going somewhere.
Yeah.
And then it hits the same beat for the whole album.
Yeah, but like when you see like the album cover and the title, and like
expectations are too high. They're too high. The album cover's too good.
I have a lot of albums like this where it's like it's what Cruz described that I could pick, but I know what would happen. Where it would just be the same reaction to this, where it's like it seems like it's gonna be some crazy shit, and you listen to it, and it's like, wow, that was out there, but it's not actually like doing some like legitimate like magnum opus of like weirdo shit. Where it's not actually going like balls to the wall like this is how the fuck we're coming. Like Black Dresses does. Like this just doesn't do it.
It's just like the more I think about it, the less I like it. Because it's like somebody was like, let's make a list of all the things that Alex doesn't like in music. And let's put them all into one album. Let's take oh my god. It's like if I'm a human being and I'm like I want to listen to aggressive music and get really angry, the last place I'm going is electronic. Like the last place I'm going is like I want some music that would be dance music if they slowed it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing is like what it is this is electronic punk is like what I did was I put in parentheses what I was like this is what I think the genre is, and then I looked on rate your music and just looked around to see what other people were calling it. This is literally just like I'm 16 years old and I don't like the fact that I don't like the fact that my dad makes me come home at 11 p.m. So I'm gonna blast some really loud shit.
Yeah.
That I think is really this is what I feel, man, because I'm young and I'm arrogant and I hate everything you stand for. And then I think it's like think about how tongue-in-cheek it sounds to be like, like I'm young and I'm arrogant. I know I'm young and I know I'm arrogant. I hate everything you stand for. Like, it's like when you say that, you have to have a level where you understand.
Of self-awareness that like it doesn't sound like Machine Girl actually has in actuality.
You have to understand what that means. And use it in a way where it doesn't have to flip it on its head, but use it in a way where you're like, look, I'm young and I'm arrogant, and I hate everything you stand for, but like, and that's the end of it. But what this album does is it keeps going farther and farther with it. Just even the fucking songs of the title, like just the album of the songs, just dumbass, fuck up your face, vomit, because I'm young and arrogant and hate everything you stand for, and it's like that's not a personality trait. It's not a let me rephrase that. It's not a personality to be young and arrogant and hate everything I stand for. But Machine Girl is for people who think that that's a personality. And
I think
it was eye-opening in a way that I wasn't expecting.
Mm-hmm.
In that I learned something new about myself at least, and I learned something new about the way that we interpret music. And I will say that it's just so edgy, and it's not fun.
It's edgy, and you can tell that like when you listen to Black Dresses, I feel like. Oh, like it took you for a surprise that like
I
Black
don't even
Dresses
think
came
that
from a place of actual darkness.
like I understand
But
what
I
you're
think
saying
for
about
me, it's
black
very
dresses.
easy to tell that Black Dresses came from a place of like legitimate, like a mode of sad and anger that I would consider legitimate, and Machine Girl is just just angry for no
I think
reason,
it's
but like not in a good way.
like I see why you keep bringing back the black dresses thing, but I really don't think that like I don't know if I mean out of stuff that I've listened to and have any experience with, maybe black dresses is where I would go in terms of like comparing this to something else. But it's just
Yeah,
like just even in the same podcast, just in terms of tone, like My Chemical Romance that we talked about earlier is edgy in a way that's like it's fun
endearing.
still. It's still
Yeah.
fun to listen to because you think about it and you're like, yeah, I've been there. But I've just never been to the point where I'm like, I'm so smart that I listen to bad music. Like there's a point where the thing about punk music, which I think is beautiful, and what I don't think that anybody gives punk enough credit for, because the people who listen to punk music don't agree with me on this. But I think something absolutely beautiful about punk is the fact that the music isn't good, but and it's all about like the vibe. It's all like it doesn't matter how good or shit your punk music is, because it's like, yeah, fuck the authority and fuck the system and shit, you know? So it's like you could literally be like pooping on stage and just playing one note on your guitar, and it's like as long as you're fucking in it with the emotion enough, people are gonna listen to it. I will never be able to be in that mindset because like I don't hate people. I don't believe that like Machine Girl knows more than anybody else enough to listen to this and get over the fact that it sounds like garbage. Because what it is it's like this is the kind of thing where it's like, oh, you don't understand, you just don't like it because it's too noisy and you don't get it. It's like, no, I don't like it because it's too noisy and it's bad. Because
Yeah.
there's plenty of shit that is 10 times as noisy as this, which is fun to listen to and sounds good.
Yeah. And like this
Because
album by comparison it's pretty like it's honestly pretty cookie cutter. It's pretty easy to understand like what's going on.
this is your noise rock when you make something normal and then make it noisy. Whereas you have some noise rock where you do some stupid meme shit and then make that noisier. This is like we played our instruments normally and we did the programming thing normally and then we just turned the distortion and all these weird timing knobs all the way up to 11.
Yeah. You just like up the BPM a good bit.
It's just if you're really into the idea that you as a human being at the age of 15 are smarter than anybody who's ever lived, and you think that the easiest way for you to express that belief is to listen to music and really identify with it and go see them live and perform and pretend that you're a part of a revolution and contributing something to society, then I think Machine Girl is the perfect band for you. But if you're
Yeah.
a functioning member of society, a normal human being, and you like music that sounds good, then I would say steer away from this. And one thing I learned is that you can go below a 3. Machine Girl gets a 2 from me.
Yeah, I was thinking this whole time. It's like I think you're going in harder than this. For me, like I think a good rule is that if you can turn off the distortion of like an abrasive like type of music, and it just turns into something very basic, then it's bad.
Well, and even outside of that, it's just that when it comes to electronic music, I really don't like. I know this isn't industrial stuff, but like, I'm literally just not a fan of industrial music. That sort of blending of rock and electronic,
Yeah,
like
it's fair.
where it's heavy, and
But this is like
the
worse.
heavier your electronics get, it's like the worse I think it is because what you're doing is you're like something that's beautiful about actual instruments is you can play an instrument really angrily and it'll sound like you're playing it really angrily.
Yeah.
But I feel like all you're doing when you make really angry electronic music is the equivalent of what people would call a keyboard warrior. It's
You're
like you're just
hitting the
really typing
rubber.
really angrily,
Yeah.
and it's like
I like that comparison.
you can do that, and that's something that you're allowed to do, and you can do it, and maybe some people are really into that. It's just that when I hear the beautiful things that electronic music can do, it kind of hurts me a little bit that Machine Girl is doing this. because I've listened to electronic music that can just do way better shit than this. This is just a punk band who in 2017, and I can't get behind it, and it doesn't. And the main problem about it is it doesn't go extreme enough in any direction to be like noteworthy. It's not like if it was just like white noise with the words over it, that would have gotten probably a 4 because it would have at least been more interesting.
It's better than Blueface.
Yeah,
Actually, I respect that. Yeah.
Because that would have been a sting. That would have been like, "Fuck you" as the listener. Here's what I have to say.
Yeah, that would make me laugh out loud for
What they did instead
for
was
a long time.
You know, it's not "fuck you" the listener. This is what I had to say. It's "fuck you" the listener. Like, haha, you purchased our album and took time out of your day to listen to it. You fucking idiot. And you know,
Yeah. I don't think I've ever had this kind of cognitive dissonance where like I know some shit is absolute garbage, but I actually don't dislike it. Because when someone says that MCR is garbage, I'm just gonna tell them that they're wrong. When someone says that Charlie XCX's first album is garbage, I'm gonna tell them that they're wrong. When someone says that pop music in general is garbage, I'm gonna tell them that they're incorrect. When you say that Machine Girl is garbage, I'm just like, I mean, yeah, true. You're like, I can't, I'm not gonna defend this, but it's like,
there's just nothing about it that I liked, and the fact that there was nothing about it to like meant that all I could ruminate on was the stuff that I really hated about it. And I've talked a lot about the idea and the philosophy about it, but just it sounds bad too. Sonically, it's just oppressive and insulting a little bit. It's like they're saying, it's like I said, it's the kind of thing where this is an album that has a fan base where if you say that you don't like it, the first thing is you don't understand it. As if there's something to understand about it outside of we are literally doing this to be intentionally edgy. And if you're intentionally edgy as well, climb aboard our train. And if you're not intentionally edgy, well, you better not be crossing the tracks.
I think it's actually really
and I'll be taking a bus into town rather than getting on this train.
Jack?
Oh, at the risk of, you know, being that person you just described who says, oh, you don't get it, I do think that there is stuff from a not from like an aesthetic, you know, edgy perspective, but from an actual musical perspective that you are not getting.
Mm-hmm. Maybe my ears just don't work. Maybe I can't get through all the dissonance and
no,
there
are times when some things just don't align with your taste, and you know maybe you're just never gonna like this album. You know, and then it's also entirely possible that maybe one day you listen to something that recontextualizes it.
I don't think. No, I know Alex too well.
I know Alex too,
that's never gonna happen.
I know with Alex that might not have ever happened, but I do think
it might. Haha.
I do think that with other people who might dislike this album on first listen, it would be very possible for them to recontextualize it with certain.
One thing that I thought about a lot was that if you break down elements of this album into really broad genres, like for example, if you just break down the fact that it's a bit noisy into noise music, and you break down the fact that it's electronic into electronic music, I really like noisy music, and I really like electronic music, and I really like, you know, some music that can be construed as edgy for a purpose. But it's just like, and I wouldn't need to necessarily say that it's like when you put all three together, you know, you like they should be better separate, because I'm sure that if I heard something else that was maybe just more, I literally believe that if this album didn't go the edgy route, it would have been fine.
I completely agree. Like the best song on this album is Sleepy, because like it just sounds pleasant. And if Machine Girl just made 38 minutes of like Sleepy, this would actually be like just unironic, just good, pleasant album. Like he actually seems talented in like producing, but then he decides to go the edgy route and make things.
He tries to make a statement that he has
the rest
no business making. And that's like, it's not even just him. I agree. Like, I think that, you know, I believe that with, you know, other, you know, artists and other examples of subgenres in music and shit. It's just like, okay, I can understand what you're saying, Jack, on a certain level, but there's also just a level.
I didn't even really get to the.
No. I just want your general point, because what I will say is that if you keep going, I will just end up disagreeing with you more because.
No, I have a simple question for you, Alex. have you listened to a lot of drum and bass music?
Yes. I'm okay. I have maybe not. Maybe a lot is not
This man
the
listens
proper
to hard
word,
style on the
but I've
low.
listened to some drum and bass enough to know
Because,
some
because
about
I
it.
would say that, of all the genres that this is written in, it is like 80% drum and bass. It's
Yeah,
like,
but then coincidentally, 80% of drum and bass is better than this album. So
Well, coincidentally too, you have subgenres of drum and bass where I'm more on the chill end of my drum and bass. My
yeah,
liquid
and
drum
I
and
mean
bass
that's
type
that's
stuff.
that's
I don't like the idea that you have somebody playing something so aggressive where all he's going to be doing is sitting behind a computer. Because you're putting the energy in the wrong place. Because you could be achieving your message and that he's obviously trying to convey, and it would have 10,000 times more impact if you were just playing an instrument badly, because at least we would know that you were trying to do something.
hmm.
There's just nothing about this album. And I think I said this before, but there's just nothing about it that I think is interesting or redeeming enough to warrant like listening to it unless you already know you're gonna like it.
Hmm. Well, when I picked this album, I didn't necessarily think of it as something that I personally loved and I wanted you guys to experience. I just thought it would be really interesting because
yeah.
not only
And
because
I thought it was interesting. It made me learn things about myself that I didn't know, which I think is good.
um,
Yeah, I've never experienced this cognitive dissonance when listening to music before. So.
the more I have listened to this album, the more I have enjoyed it. Because I've appreciated the aggressive cutting and the aggressive breakbeats a lot more. But
Jack music.
yeah, I mean, I do appreciate. I do think that I probably appreciate music that is much more rhythmically rather than melodically oriented than you guys do. And this is definitely a album that I would think would like fall into that. Great example would probably be the track that has the Japanese name, uh, the single track on the album with that, because it's does this great thing where like
Okay,
it
no, because
builds
there's
up.
passages in this song that are like just drum and bass instrumental for a little bit, and then it goes back to him screaming on top of it.
Yeah, that's what's cool about that track rhythmically.
That's what's not cool
It's
about that
because it's
track.
because those segments are short enough that it's just like it's an interesting build as like you get
It's
a
an
you get a little
interesting
bit of
build to see
you get
that.
a climb with you get a little bit of a climb with the screaming vocal part, and then you get a interesting drum and bass break, and then you get another climb, and then you get a completely different but also interesting drum break, right? And
Ugh.
that's what I think is
This song could have been better if it was just interesting drum and bass breakbeats.
Yeah, I wish
Because
the breaks were more like summer
because
vacation and less like recess.
what
You know?
ruins it, like what Cameron said, this guy is clearly talented and is clearly a talented producer and arranger. What's ruining it is the fact that he feels like I'm young and arrogant and hate everything you stand for is a message that needs to be spread. Because like if he just made an album of
It's
those
so
breakbeats
sad.
that I'm assuming they could be sampled for all I know, but if he made them, those are
If he made them,
beautiful
he's
and
actually really fucking good.
they
But
sound really nice. Make an album of that and call the album Sunshine and Rainbows and make that the message you want to spread instead of here's some shit that sounds really good and then here's some shit that's so niche that it's gonna ruin it if you don't like it. Because there's elements of songs that I do like, but the problem is that those elements get completely ruined by the fact that they're not the core of the song at all.
like, it takes a nation is actually such a good song. It's actually like if you just listen to the instrumental, like I actually love that song. And I mean, like his lyrics are interesting enough to like make me thought provoke, but not like cancer enough to make me dislike it. But it's just like if he just had a whole 38 minutes of just that and Sleepy, then like this is an amazing album. And then he had like a whole other album that was just like, oh, I'm gonna go full bullet hell, like do some funny shit with your drums to make me laugh. Like you just split the two core concepts of this album into two albums, and I'm gonna really like both of those albums. But the mixture of it is like, it's not quite it.
I'm sorry, Jack. I know this isn't the
Oh,
way you wanted things to
no,
go.
I mean it's fine. I don't necessarily like think you are like in the wrong to think this. I was not picking this album expecting you guys to love it. You know, um, I like it. I've liked it more and more every time I listen to it. I notice more and more little things. It's cool. I don't really think or care about his message or ideals much, because I think that there's a good degree to which they're comedically exaggerated, as you see in the album cover.
What I mean is, I think that he thinks also that they're comedically exaggerated enough to be tongue-in-cheek enough for to be understandable.
But he still means
I don't
them
think that he's
to like
aware
a T.
that some of them are too, like, even just in the name of the title of the album title. I don't think maybe even the man who made the album understands how grounded it is, to the point where if you have to think, is this real or is this a joke? Like, that's too much. And I said that about Blueface too. That was the problem with Blueface, was if you have to think, is this supposed to be funny or is it funny on accident? That's like they haven't accomplished what I feel like they were trying to do in the first place. Because if you're trying to make something intentionally really like, this is going to be a parody, a tongue-in-cheek thing, there's a way to make it obvious enough that it is. And if you're not trying to make it like that, there shouldn't be elements that can be construed as comedic, even on accident. And that's another thing. That's one other aspect of this that I didn't like. I was like, even just with the song titles, I was like, there's no way that this is serious, right? And then I think about it more, and I'm like, well, maybe there's no way this is a joke, or is it both, or is it neither? And the fact that I had to think that hard about it, just, maybe the message of the album went over my head. But I want to believe that maybe I'm thinking about Machine Girl too hard.
I think you are.
Just...
When I listened to it, as soon as I heard, like, I think he said 3 cuss words in a row, like shit, piss, fuck. After he said that, I just stopped it. I just stopped paying attention to the lyrics, and I was like, where is the fuck shit? When is it gonna hit? When is it gonna drop? When is it gonna be like, okay, that's what he's doing with the album? And then
the problem is that when everything,
it was just boring. I never paid attention to the lyrics.
Like if Bullet Hell Onwards was just Bullet Hell, like this shit would be wild. But
when everything is so, like,
but it's actually boring
equally, I end up listening to it all the same, because there's nothing that I'm like, I'm gonna listen to this aspect of it instead and not focus on other shit. So I end up being forced to listen to the ravings of a man who probably watches way more Rick and Morty than I do.
Type shit.
But shout out Machine Girl. If you have a group of people who really fuck with it, keep it up. Run for public office, do you? But...
shouts out to the line in the song "Bitten Twice" where he says, "Instead I masturbate," which is I didn't hear what I didn't even hear what he said before. I was just like, damn, fucking good shit. I also really like the intro, the way that song begins, the fat bass line. Yeah, I guess none of you guys liked it. Whatever.
I liked it.
Oh yeah, you liked it.
I liked it. It's just
he thinks it belongs in the fucking garbage can, though.
Yeah, but it belongs in the garbage can, but it belongs in like my bathroom garbage can. Where it's like I don't actually use my bathroom garbage can. It's just there to be there. So like this will just be the only thing in the garbage can. If I want to like dust it off, then it's fine. Like I can just take it out the bathroom garbage can because it's not a real garbage.
Yeah, but that's where
can.
it goes back into. It
exactly.
doesn't have
when I'm
that
done
is
with
its place.
Type shit.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't like having garbage in my bathroom.
Oh, so you don't like it even more because it's in your fucking bathroom garbage.
Well, I mean, if that's the only thing in there, like it's just there to like be there. It's like, all right, like I put it there for a reason, particularly to troll myself.
What a conversation starter! If you have a girl over and it's like, what is this album?
You just have a poster of the album cover chilling in the bathroom.
It's in your trash can. No, I want you to have a fucking 12-incher just fucking slammed in that fucker
with just the vinyl cover.
Yeah, and it warps because of the humidity. And it's still like, yeah, I'm gonna put this shit on.
Oh, it's so humid in that bitch ass bathroom.
Dude, that'd be dope.
All right, so next week is Thanksgiving. I believe we're not doing a episode then, right?
No episode next week.
Our next episode.
So we're gonna.
It'll be 2 weeks from this Saturday.
feel free to pick albums that are, a bit longer, since we have more time. Yeah, cool.
Yeet.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yeah, happy thanks.
Happy
Shout-
T-wise giving.
Shouts out to Machine Girl. We all love you.
Mhm.
All
Yeah,
every
yeah,
single one
sponsor
just gave you a
us.
10 out of 10.
Yeah, it's a tough love,
Yeah,
but
Yeah, just giving, we're just giving you that extra criticism to push you
Yeah.
to that 11 out of 10, you know?
Yeah, yeah. You just made your sweet revenge, and next is your Black Parade. You know.
Yeah.
Yep, you just made your famous
I mean,
clip, and
you
maybe
just made your
who knows what's
organ
next.
in the adding machine. Alright,
I mean,
have a good week,
I guess
everybody.
if this was the Sweet Revenge, then
Turn this shit
the
off.
Black Parade's already come out. See, they're out.